Bom dia, Portugal!
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.
Hola, bon dia, alegria. Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, a live stream and the podcast. Somewhat squashed on the screen this morning. What do? Do I lower my chair or do I use my snazzy software and move myself on the screen electronically? I'm going to go for the latter. Let's try that and let's zoom out a bit as well. You can see we're on air. It's the Good Morning Portugal show. Yes, bon dia, alegria. How are you? Feels like a Friday already. Is that because we've got the meetup today? Changes with the meetup in San Martino de Porto. This lunchtime, and maybe further changes still. It's been quite a rocky road, what with our usual venue, Palmeira, shut for a well-earned break, I have to say. Well done, Nelson and Margarida, for looking after us so well, and so many other people. Really busy tourist season. Good for you here in San Martino de Porto, taking most of this month off. It's the 1st of November. Yeah, I think we'll be with you on the last Wednesday of November. And some surprises between now and then that I've got planned. The weather being cooperative, the weather being cooperative is would be quite a helpful and useful thing with some of the plans I've got. More about that later on. Good morning, everybody. And good morning to new member Christopher. Christopher Whedon has joined us as a new member. So that's on YouTube. You can be a member on YouTube. Christopher, drop me a line and I'll make sure you get access to all the benefits over at gmpvip.com. Thank you very much for supporting the show. Woohoo! And thank you to Deagle, to T-Duck, to James, who are in this morning, and Coach Turner as well. Bon dia, all you wonderful gumpers from Coach Turner. Had a lovely walk and lunch with some old friends yesterday who arrived here on Monday. He's in Madeira, in the islands there. We're due to, Funchal, I believe, we're due to visit Nuns Valley, matron, today. So he's going to be taking pictures of the Nuns Valley. Now, we're lucky, aren't we, that we've lasted this long on various social media platforms with that sort of thing. Come on, pack it in, Coach Turner. What are you like? You won't catch me snickering and being puerile when it when it comes to the mere mention of a Nuns Valley. Anyway, thank you very much for keeping us abreast of your movements this morning. And thank you very much, I think, for a God Squad tip of the day as well. Yes, we shall come back to that too. And loving T-Duck's contributions on that front as well. Did you see the opening meme? It's a good one. And there was a lot of competition for the opening meme. Here she is. It's Mariah Carey, knowing it's starting in just a few weeks. Look at that face. She's got a smoke on. And oh God. Superb. Now that was competing with, I know this is a recycled one, but this has been done in a different way, which I think is wonderful and very helpful at the moment for I don't know, reaching across to other people, creating a bit more peace and understanding in the world. You know, if seek first to understand and then be understood, as the great Stephen Covey once said. So lesson number 10 then from Craft Bitch. She sounds like an interesting lady. Ask people questions that give them an opportunity to talk about themselves. For example, what the hell is wrong with you? Please try that today. Maybe video it and we'll play it tomorrow morning. And on a serious note, actually, as far as that's concerned, I did make reference to a situation in Israel, Gaza, Palestine yesterday. And I've got some homework that I meant to add to the conversation I was having yesterday. I was a little bit under the weather yesterday. I don't know if you noticed. Yesterday's show was quite the struggle. Yesterday, I don't know what was quite wrong with me, but I had a hot bath. I would like to say I rested a bit more yesterday, but I was up till 2 this morning writing. So much going on at the moment, and I took the kids over to the forest. There's not really the circumstances for trick or treating in our neighbourhood. Quite a few of the houses locally are lock up holiday homes, so there are a few kids around here, and there are more actually, which is lovely to see. And we've got a children's playground being built at the top, but it's not a neighbourhood in which you would naturally go trick or treating. I mean, do people really do that in Portugal anyway? So what I thought I'd do, I terrify them differently, and I took them into the woods, and I said, look, we're going to make hot chocolate in the woods over a stove, over a campfire, and do a few marshmallows, toast a few marshmallows, and make some s'mores, which I'd never really heard about until my kids started watching YouTube. And we did it, and it was fantastic. And I can't remember why I'm telling you that now. But anyway, that's what we did for Halloween yesterday. And who knew? We have some a very gifted pumpkin carver whose work I will show you in just a minute as well. I really don't know why I was telling you all of that. It was a busy day yesterday, including going into the forest and terrifying the kids. And it was really dark. I mean, even though there's quite the fulsome moon at the moment, it was pretty dark in the forest. The forest had been churned up. I say forest, it's our local Parc de Merendas with some really tall eucalyptus and pine trees in there. But still, when you're a kid, actually, when you're an adult, there was a moment last night when I was I was the designated grown-up. Can you believe that? With my 3 kids over there. It's going pretty well after I'd rescued defeat from the jaws of victory. The fire was going fairly well, and then it went out, and I had to really get some oxygen on there. It was a new stove which we'd been gifted. Thank you, Mike and Dee, for that. A lovely stove, and which we were able to make the hot chocolate on, but not without some stress, quite frankly. So I was using all my primal techniques for getting the fire started, and I eventually did. And there was a moment when I was there with the kids, and I was being, tough dad, grown up, designated grown up, looking after the kids there. And I saw a figure in the darkness, which quite scared me. We'd seen a bat flying really close to us, and later on saw a toad hopping across the churned up debris of the recent storms. It's quite a picture over there, very Halloweeny. And I thought I saw this figure in the darkness. It was a litter bin, a garbage receptacle. But it's amazing, isn't it, how the dark just changes things so much for us human beings when we connect with it. I mean, we're so used to being lit all the time, aren't we? To be out there in the darkness was good. And I think it was very good for the kids as well. They said, can we do it again? So I'll take that as the marker of they weren't completely terrified and they won't be needing your psychotherapy services just yet, James. We've delayed that a little bit longer. Fantastic. Yeah, Halloween then. It was, of course, trick-or-treating Halloween yesterday. What is it? All Hallows Eve. And heralding it's the thinnest day between the veils of life and death, isn't it? Around this time. Perhaps last night, or that's the eve of what's happening today on the 1st of November here. All Souls, All Saints. Whichever way you look at it, is a public holiday here in Portugal. Though pagans might want to tell me more about how they celebrate and what the significance is. But certainly the significance for most people today is a day off. Whether or not they'll be honouring all the saints or all the souls and the dearly departed, I don't know. Most people are glad of just a public holiday and a day off. So if you're trying to do anything official, it ain't going to be happening today, folks, here on the 1st of November in Portugal. Although João is opening up, so I can go and collect my vehicle today. Thank you, João. Another fantastic job from your local mechanic in the San Martinho de Porto Silver Coast area, who I cannot commend too highly. Cheers, João. Really appreciate how promptly and how conscientiously and caringly you work on our vehicle and for our family, basically. Carl, please, very funny. Please take off that hideous Halloween mask. You're scaring us. Yes, very good. Peter, did you do anything for Halloween? And this was sent in. I thought it was a Halloween gesture. Bulging mail sack this morning. Thanks, everybody, on 913-590-303. This was sent in to us, Uncle Krusty and Claudia. I thought it was Halloween, but then when I read the message, it says this is what 30 years of marriage does to you. So hang on in there, you two. You're doing a great job. Hope you had a great evening yesterday. And yes, did I say we had a gifted pumpkin carver here? I did. Look at this work, and then I'll tell you who this is. From our community. Look at these quality carvings here. I think they weren't made for last night's Halloween or yesterday's Halloween celebrations. These are from back in the day. Some excellent photographs. You actually can tell from the photographic quality. These might actually be digital photographs of original prints. Is that right? The person who's watching who made these, aren't they fantastic? Look at that. Is that the Donald Trump pumpkin? Possibly there. The color of the pumpkin doesn't lend itself well to DJT. Look at that. Or carved jade, it also looks like, doesn't it? Really brilliant work. The expert pumpkin. Yeah, look, there's another one. These are superb and looking brilliant when they're lit up as well. Really, really delicate, ornate work here. Thank you so much. Can you guess who did these? Look at that. There is a way they could have done these by using their slug-like secretions to burn a hole in the pumpkin. But no, I think they used a knife. Is that a sufficient clue for you? I'll leave that hanging there for a moment and go to a few comments, of which there are many this morning. So great to see you. Are there more people here this morning because it's a public holiday, I wonder? And then smash, as well as smashing your pumpkins, smash the like button. Smash them like buttons. Thank you, Deagle, for your encouragement this morning. Alison also here. Looking forward to seeing you at the weekend. Good morning, folks. A day to commune with the living and the dearly departed. Absolutely. So you'll be honouring those who've passed by the sound of it, Alison. It's a nice day and time of year. If indeed communing with the dearly departed can be described as a nice thing. I think fond memories are part of that, as well as the grief that goes with it. So yeah, it is quite the time of year, isn't it? With the season of mists and mellow fruitfulness, where we can consider those that have gone before us. And maybe, yeah, Mrs. M is talking about Thanksgiving celebrations and giving thanks. Perhaps, we can thank them for what they did as well. And of course, there are others who we might be more pleased to have let go of, but also acknowledge how in some strange way they've also made us who we are today. For some of the people who it wasn't so great to be in a relationship or be related to. It's true, isn't it? It happens. It happens. But still, some sense can be made of it with a strange kind of love for those who have passed, who perhaps were not our favourites. Is that a bit taboo, talking about the dead in that way, I wonder? No, we're all grown-ups here. We can take that sort of thing, can't we? We'll see. God's God tip of the day, then. Having established that my alcohol consumption is roughly balanced by my exercise, let's begin to see what... It sounds something very scientific, isn't it? It's a nice segue within the forthcoming Netflix series, God Squad, starring the Hoffmeister. Coach Turner. Let's begin to see what other inputs are relevant. I suspect that I should count my daily coffee, my galao, at 100 calories and my pastel de nata at 200. So you can get those little ones, those tiny little ones, just for the taste, and the crispy, crunchy, vanilla-infused pastry of the pastel de nata. And broadly, I'm left with 1,500 calories for lunch and dinner to maintain a steady weight. It will be interesting to look at my Darth Vader scales. Well, it's one thing, as we've said before, Coach Turner, you're looking down at Darth Vader, but what view is he having to look at? To do Darth Vader scales when I'm home to how I've managed. Of course, the types of food are also important. So we'll look at that tomorrow. Yeah, plenty of salad. I'm sure you can get some great salad in Madeira over there and some lovely fruit. Although fruit can be quite highly calorific, but good whole foods I'm sure are available. That's the key, isn't it? To eat good whole foods and resist and refrain from the processed stuff. More of which I suspect you'll be talking about tomorrow. Bon dia, Greg Gumpers from a T-Duck then at 1 minute past 8. And morning, Coach. Hey, look at this. There's a new machine at my gym that has everything. Kit Kats, Snickers, Twix, the lot. Loving those. And a case of beer. Do you know what? I'm going to hold this. Because I'm thinking that, if I remember rightly, Jackie from Expats Portugal likes a pão de Deus, bread for God. It's Portuguese tradition of souling Is that right? Of Soling, celebrated all over Portugal, named for the Sol Mas cakes given to the poor on All Saints' Day. Excellent. So Jackie will be joining us this morning from Expats Portugal, and I think she likes a pau de Deus, so I'll hold that because I think she'll like that. And instead, I'll do the deep thought of the day just to make sure it doesn't get forgotten, which it nearly did yesterday, right? Deep thought of the day. Then we're staying with Kurt Vonnegut. You meet saints everywhere. Beautifully done, beautifully connected this morning. Wonderful, wonderful content. Thank you, Tito. You meet saints everywhere. They can be anywhere. They are people behaving decently in an indecent society. Kurt Vonnegut. And you know what? I'm reminded now that I forgot to give you the homework in relation to the disgust I'm sure we all feel with what's going on, certainly certain parts of the conflict in Israel and Gaza and Palestine. I neglected to share this with you yesterday, but here's something I think our community is well capable of, as well as being disgusted. Perhaps being inspired by some of the amazing things. I have been in touch with Boaz, who we know flew over to Israel. He was moved. He lives in Portugal down south, and he was moved to go back to Israel. I think he's brought his mum over to safety here in Portugal. And I think his sister, whose work she's an amazing musician, and she's channeled her feelings into her music. So we'll feature her music at some point. And of course, there is in this most horrible of situations, there is that inspiration, and people are doing amazing things as well, obviously on a humanitarian level. If I may push it just a little bit further, here we see this much used meme here of you could say the two sides here visually. The words that go with it are: peace cannot be kept by force. It can only be achieved by understanding. And there you see who I'm assuming an Israeli and a Palestinian elders of those communities talking to each other, perhaps seeking to understand each other better. How about them that we take that on as a bit of homework here? Peace cannot be kept by force. Whenever we're forceful in our opinions and our judgments and our damnation of the situation or others, how about we remember this meme and we think, okay, so what am I not understanding here? What do I may find something abhorrent, but why is that? Shall I give that a second thought and see if I can understand it a bit better? Because as abhorrent as it is, and I'm not making excuses for anyone or anything, perhaps these things can be slowly and steadily and in time, and give our children, our grandchildren, the legacy of a peaceful world. Presumably that will happen through the means and mechanisms of seeking to understand each other when it feels like we just can't. I mean, to be honest, it feels like we just can't sometimes, isn't it? And just some behavior is beyond the pale. How could we ever forgive or understand that? But I would leave that with you. I won't say any more and go on about it too much. But how about we push ourselves a little bit further? Because I do feel myself that we are that perhaps is our most useful superpower, is to dig a little bit deeper and try and understand what's gone on to have people behave and act in such a brutal way, and for there to seem to be no hope. Hope abides for sure. It must do, mustn't it? For us human beings, we know we can get through this somehow. We've got this far, albeit with the bumps and scrapes that we're experiencing, but I think we can go further, deeper, and we can begin to understand each other and achieve peace. Bom dia then a todos from the Slug. Hey Carl, did you know Slug and James are friends? Feliz carta, tudo bem? It is hump day. It's Ask Anything About Portugal Wednesday. Looking forward to sharing those top draw dad jokes with Mrs. M, who's here to talk about. We're way ahead of this, talking about giving thanks and Thanksgiving. She did an astrological special. She did a bit of research on Thanksgiving. It's not something she and I understand very well. Closest we perhaps have to that is Christmas lunch, Christmas dinner for the to make a connection, to understand the American habit of Thanksgiving. So she'll be talking more about that later on. Dad joke warning from James: laughing out loud is forbidden in Hawaii because it's aloha state. Sorry, that gets 2 rim shots. Who doesn't like a rim shot first thing in the morning? Very good quality, and a visual dad joke from him as well, which I must include. Something to think about: I set my password to incorrect, so every time I get my password wrong, it tells me your password is incorrect. That's great, isn't it? Let's hope not too many people do that. Are you joining me now, Mrs. M?
Is that okay?
You can join me anytime you like, but before 9 o'clock, it's quite amazing. Okay, I'm sliding your mic up. You can be heard now, if not seen. Oh, and I know why she's here, because I'm going to be talking about transparent male fashion.
Oh,
Now,
that's so funny.
why? Get nice and close to your mic.
That is so funny because I was just doing my usual kind of my usual
Come on,
I can get it out. My usual beauty routine, which is very, very little, I have to say. And
well, it has amazing results, if I may say so. Well, is that the right thing to say?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, good.
I'm not offended by that.
Good.
Well
but
done, what I was realizing, so you're talking about transparent male fashion.
Yeah, which I thought attracted you and perhaps others who appreciate the male form, thinking that transparent male fashion was possibly see-through underpants.
Oh wow, no. It got me just thinking about transparent beauty, because as I was just darkening my eyebrows a little bit and putting a tiny bit of blush on to create the illusion of cheekbones, I realized that a lot of
cheekbones.
Well, here's the thing, like the male and female skulls are different. And a lot of these rituals, don't worry, I'm not going to go there, but a lot of these rituals that women have are actually to create a sense of beauty that's more in line with the male face.
Are you...
seriously, because men have heavier brows.
I'm being used as a. If you're listening to the podcast, I'm being prodded and poked here.
Yeah, like if you turn your head to the side.
A. Which way?
Any side. Men's faces, their foreheads slope back a lot more than females, and then they protrude a little bit. I need to ground this, don't I?
Or use a pencil.
What?
like the constipated accountant.
No, I mean with a buzz on the mic.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. Who doesn't like a buzz on the mic? But no,
there you go. Yeah. Oh no, it's still there.
If you hold the stem, just touch the stem gently.
I love that.
Stop it.
So if you have a look where I'm stroking Carl's eyebrows, with men, their foreheads flare out and give them a heavier brow. Women don't really have this.
Your hypothesis this morning
is that women, in their desire to have a heavier brow, is actually to mimic some of the male markers in their face. And the same with cheekbones. Men have in their skull, their cheeks actually flare out wider, much wider than a woman's.
A little bit like my nostrils, yeah.
And so men don't actually really need to put blusher on to highlight their cheekbones, because you can see them.
The things you learn watching the Good Morning Portugal
and it's
show.
the same with lipstick and lip gloss. Men naturally are programmed to have fuller lips, and so many women go out and have fillers put in. And it's so interesting to me that our ideas on beauty are actually to turn our faces more masculine, and yet that is actually the marker of beauty. Like for most people that are sexually attracted to women, have been sold the idea
guilty as charged.
Have been sold the idea that women with darker brows, higher cheekbones, bigger lips, and also deeper set eyes. So women put they put eyeshadow on to give more contouring to the eye, and actually what it does is mimic you can't see it with Carl's eyes because he's also got a bit of Asian in him, so
not currently.
No, Carl is half Chinese.
Always
Carl is half Asian, and so the Asian eyes are slightly different to the Western shape eyes.
Well, this is turning into a TED talk.
But male eyes are much deeper set than females, and so when we put eyeliner and eyeshadow on, we are essentially.
So for men, it's like looking in the mirror. That's why they like it so much.
That is probably why they like it.
It's egotistical. They're looking in the mirror, aren't they?
Yeah, totally.
They've turned women into men for their own purposes.
Yeah, and women, like their idea and what
and that's like
looks great for men. Women love
women appreciate. Women like buy magazines looking at other women, don't they? In a way that men don't tend to, or maybe they do more now. For him,
I have no idea. I haven't really bought a magazine for ages, but it's worth observing. So I was literally just upstairs putting my makeup on, thinking, that's so weird, isn't it? That we would do that.
Well, it's one of these moments.
You've got a new jingle.
No, it's an old one, but I don't use very often.
I would have used that so much more.
The dust was flying off that one, wasn't it? Superb. Okay, well, thank you for your theory.
Well, I'd like to see your transparent males.
Oh, my transparent male fashion. Yeah.
Because I, at the same time, I was
see-through underpants though. That's not such a bad idea. Like
is
try
that
it before you buy.
is that the
underpants.
fashion
No,
tips?
I'm going to be talking about ISTO at some point. You're going to be talking about Thanksgiving, and hopefully we've also got Jackie joining us from Expats Portugal as well.
I would like to put in a bit of
a
shout out for my
buns,
girls.
her favourite buns.
Oh, okay.
Right.
And I'd like to talk about my my girls. I'm joined by Sarah and Jay on the show after
for
your
the Barefoot
show.
Broadcast.
Yeah, okay. And we've got a lovely title today. Let me just give it to you.
You missed this. Dad joke warning: laughing out loud is forbidden in Hawaii because it's aloha state. It's very, very good, that, isn't it?
Aloha, very clever.
Yeah, very good. And a dad joke, a visual dad joke warning as well. Then this to go with that. I think I loaded this up yesterday. Yeah, this is great. Bugs Bunny won't accept files through Google Drive. Would you like to respond to that in a typical sort of musical way?
Why won't Bugs Bunny accept files through Google Drive?
I've got to take that banner off as well. He'll only accept. Oh, what's up, Dak?
That is fantastic.
That is good, isn't it?
Do you know what? I realise I actually laugh like my dad.
Not quite, but yes, you're getting there. Right. Good morning, Gubbers. Thank you for being here. It is a hump day. Yes, you may go ahead. And
yeah, sorry. I was just saying, I'm joined by my lovely ladies, Sarah Taylor and Jay Atkinson.
Oh, yeah.
But we're talking about who and what are the catalysts for change in our lives this is the key part, that we have misidentified as our enemy.
So run that past me again. Sorry, I kind of no. It's not set up.
Can you put it
yet.
back up?
Yeah. If I go to a couple of buttons, okay, you're good to go.
Okay, so this is a title with impact. Okay, with this sort of twist.
Can you get on with it? Because I mean, this title is so long; it's in danger of taking up the whole show.
Who and what are the catalysts for change in our lives that we have misidentified as our enemy?
Oh, okay, good.
That was perfect.
Yes, I was alluding to that when I was talking about today being the All Saints, All Souls. And, we've got ancestors who we can thank. And there are some awkward ancestors as well. So they might be in that category, mightn't they? The infamous in our tribes.
I really like to just really bless our souls because I think...
Difficult phrase to say.
Our souls are great.
Yes, let's bless our souls in every...
I'm so sorry, that makes me giggle every time.
Of the
let's bless our souls.
Apparently, I do sit as if I have a small bit of Asian inside me.
Who said that?
Of course. Who do you think?
Oh, morning, Pete.
Surely transparent underwear depends on whether you're a show. I was going to read that as a shower.
Oh, I was going to say that.
A shower or a grower. And Christopher Whedon, who is our new member. Talking of transparent maleness and members, he's a new member, and he's hit the ground running here. He's getting the measure of this community. Could you actually see a transparent male?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good question.
Yeah, excellent. Very good.
Who is that? No, I also think like transparent is like a transparent.
Really? Yeah, there's more and more of those. It would appear these days.
Well, people pretending to be parents that maybe aren't.
Or just identifying as a parent when you actually haven't got any kids.
Yeah.
Oh, life is so complicated.
What a rich seam this has got.
Deagle. Bon dia, Carl and Gumpers from a damp, warm 13-degree Belfast.
Yikes, that sounds yeasty.
Yes, true. I'm sure you can get a cream for that, Deagle. In October, we had 780 millimeters of rain. Whoa. Interesting to see how much Storm Kieran brings. Oh, another one. Heavy flooding across Northern Ireland in the last few days. I saw some fellas in Kiney Down. I think they were in a boat going down the street. It was quite something. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Stay safe there, Deagle. And well done, mate. You're working on. Shout out to the public service workers, Deagle among them, who was working on shift when the clocks went back.
Oh, wow.
An hour he's not going to be getting back from the national.
Yeah, what happens there? Did they pay you for that extra hour?
They say, well, Deagle talked about this, and they say it balances out, but only if you're working.
Only if you're working on that day.
Exactly, and he isn't always working on the day when it's.
That's tricky. I mean, that's just tight.
It is.
I mean, they should just pay everyone that extra hour for crying out loud.
Absolutely right. Well said. Yeah, Christopher, let's make sure you're a GMP VIP as well as being a member over on YouTube. And yes, a nice welcome from James to you as well. And the Facebook dad joke was censored by YouTube. They're working together. They are circling us, aren't they? And making our lives rubbish with their
Actually, they
stupid...
make it more fun, I think.
What, because we become the resistance, and he's already found a way around it.
Yeah, of course. There's always a way.
Yeah. So yeah, and the encouragement is, if you've been censored by YouTube, you must be doing something right. But yes, well done. And bon dia, Christopher, from Deagle to new member Christopher. The craziest breakfast show, light-hearted but full of useful information. That's a fantastic strapline. Light-hearted but full of useful information. I'd like to think of myself as
light-hearted but useful.
Yeah. Would you agree with that assessment?
He's on the whole, we do have a few storms that come in. Like Storm Carl comes in every now and again. But then so does Storm Louisa, just to keep the sort of like Deagle analogy going.
Moods and humour. Humour in the broadest
It can get a bit humid sometimes and a bit stormy. But mostly you are light-hearted and very useful around the house.
But so 4 out of 5 stars, maybe 4.5.
Yeah,
I can take it. I would. A vulnerability, authenticity. I would take it to my therapist. But
I would go for a strong 5 out of 5.
No, you weren't. You changed your mind at the last minute.
I would go for 4.5. Like you pulled it out of the bag last night.
No, well, actually, I'm offended. I say I'm not bothered, but I am deeply upset by that.
What?
And I'm
oh dear, there's a stormy front on its way.
I'm not sure I can continue this morning.
Are you going to flounce out?
So what did I pull out of the bag last night?
You pulled it out of the bag last night. It's Halloween and kids want to.
I told everyone about that.
Oh, okay.
Took them to the forest. Yeah.
Terrified them. Yeah, that was perfect. I thought that was great.
Jackie's just getting ready. I've got great news for you, Jackie. I'm talking about your beloved pal de douche, which has a special significance today. We've got information about that. It's not the only cake she likes, to be fair, but I think she's mentioned that before. And we'll talk to you just a moment. Bon dia a todos. Do fresco e nuvoso, mon caro Pascio. So it's cold and cloudy down there in Mon Carapaccio. I think there's a lot of that kind of weather in Portugal at the moment. We're not in the 300 days of sunshine bit.
We're not in that part of the cycle at the moment.
Okay. All our beautiful people from Owen. Congratulations, Owen, on your news.
What's his news?
He's got some of his food in the local cafe there.
Oh, fantastic. Well done.
Yeah, bon dia. I have to go to America on Friday, back before Christmas. I'll miss y'all. Says Sarah.
Have a great journey back.
Trip, yeah. And yeah, very funny, Pete. Carl, please take off that. Look at what he said to me. Please take off that hideous Halloween mask. He's so rude, that man. I finally joined after Festa Cerveja with Pete. It's that Christopher. I didn't recognize Joy the other day, and here's Christopher, member on YouTube. Cheers, Christopher, with PWD as he's known, hashtag PWD, Pete Wilton Davis, and the Airbnb stay at Stefan's. We heard all about that, Christopher. We had Frank's match report of the Airbnb. Stefan is not what he called him, but which is his name actually is Stefan. And I must put that on my list of favorite things, which I've also got at GMP VIP, the wonderful Airbnb that we stayed at there. I thoroughly recommend Castanero de Pera to you. Yes, so Christopher, it's that Christopher. Great to see you, mate. Great to see you. Joy says, bon dia. Excellent. It's all fallen into place, fell into place. For me, let's get through. Just make sure we're saying hello to everybody who's bothered to say hello to us this morning before we go to Jackie. Bon dia a todos from Michael and Catherine. Good morning to you both, and good morning, folks, from Alison as well. Who else is here that we have?
I like that. I like that. A good day to commune with the living and the dearly departed.
I picked that up and ran with it actually. But yeah. What else would you say about that?
I was literally just
that.
I just think it's nice. I think it's lovely.
It is, isn't it?
It's a shame that we only do it once a year. I think it's a lovely
if that. I mean, some people are just enjoying a bank holiday, public holiday today,
and lots of sugar.
Yes, but you're
right. I think
it's
really important to bless our ancestors. I know I was just like making a joke about bless our souls, but I think it's really important. Like you've got that phrase. We're standing on the shoulders of giants.
Correct, absolutely.
Like our parents might. And grandparents and great grandparents, might be very, very different to us. Yes. And yet we've got so much of them.
Yes, absolutely. If not for them, where would we be? Well, nowhere. Still in Dad's bag. Baghdad. Oh, well, whatever that phrase is. Good morning, Carl and Louisa. And
hanging out in a hairy sack somewhere.
And to all our followers Excellent. And good morning to you, Jacqueline. May I just say, anyone wishes to follow me on Facebook, Viva na Costa, everyone is very welcome to join the group.
Wonderful.
That is a lovely living a Viva Costa. She'll draw you in and spit you out, lips the color of mocha, which we were talking about earlier on, weren't we?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, says Jacqueline. Absolutely. Facebook, Viva na Costa, here for all things good on the Silver Coast. And good morning, Carl. What's this? Does your list include raindrops on roses? For the things to be thankful for, your Thanksgiving, your Thanksgiving list. So, talking of Thanksgiving, let's learn more from our American friend Jack here, and bring her onto the screen. Hola, buen dia, Jackie.
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can see you. It's all going very well, I have to say.
Well, I actually had a thought on what your lovely wife had to say this morning. It's also Day of the Dead. I don't know if you guys talked about that.
Yeah, well, all these already things seem to be connected, don't they? Absolutely. So tell us more about that. What were you thinking about Day of the Dead?
My mom happens to be Mexican, so so what I love about Day of the Dead, and I'm sure your children have all seen Coco, and it is beautiful. And it kind of does touch on what it means, Day of the Dead. And really what it is a celebration of family. You go and you visit the tombstone, and I think even today is Dia de los Angelitos, which is Day of the Angels, which is children who have passed. I think that's today. But I may have gotten those days confused. And for instance, they put up, I have we call it primo hermano, like a cousin who's my brother, and he passed. He was a 9/11 cop, and we put an altar to him, and you have marigolds or flowered marigolds, that bright orangey yellow color, all the things he loved, pictures of him, like he was a DJ in the 80s. So, we have some albums of his and all the things he did in his life. And we just put together an altar. And it's really a joyful thing. What I love about how the Mexican culture views death is it's not something to be afraid of. It's almost the opposite of Halloween, because it's something to be embraced. You laugh at death because it's a natural progression. You celebrate it. And so I love that spirit. It takes so much of fear and even helps to ease the pain of that transition.
Well said.
I love that.
I mean, it's got to be more healthy, hasn't it, than never talking about it, as it seems to be in some other cultures. And of course, it's never going to be easy, I don't suppose, and it's not going to be without pain. But I'm sure talking about it and having a more of a celebratory approach is better than making it a complete no, don't go there sort of taboo.
Yeah, and even what I love, even like Dia de los Angelitos, is that you invite the godparents of the child who's passed, you celebrate them, and it's very layered, and it's in many ways very pagan. It's pre-Christian. Yeah. But like all those things, they try to incorporate it in, like I think that's a pretty common phenomenon to incorporate those things in. But and I even love Thanksgiving. So, on the other side of that, it's all about gratitude, isn't it? So, we're coming up to Thanksgiving, and it always was my husband's favorite holiday. He says there's nothing commercial about Thanksgiving unless you're watching football all day, and it's lots of commercials. But it really is also like a celebration of family. And what's the joke that tryptophan or some chemical in turkey puts you to sleep so you don't kill each other? That's like the kind of the big joke about that holiday. But I actually love that one too. I love, like, I was just in the UK, like, as I told you, and I love those Sunday roasts. We were like so about the Sunday roasts, and in some ways I think of Thanksgiving as our like gigantic Sunday roast, because it's a big roast turkey, and I love all that stuff. So it works for me.
We'll come back to the Day of the Dead, the All Souls. I think it's a useful thing. Alison says, I have a little party put out the departed's favourite snacks and drinks, have their pictures on the table, all happy vibes. That's lovely, Alison. Thank you very much.
It's great.
We'll return
I would
to
like
that
to see
theme.
some of that today.
Yeah, what a lovely idea. We'll return to that theme. But I have to ask you, Jackie, about visiting the UK, where me and Mrs. Emma are from. How was it? Did you enjoy yourself
Where
over
did you
there?
go?
Well, I'm fully in love with the Cotswolds now. I mean, we went to London for a few days, and we saw a play that was called Flowers for Mrs. Harris. And my husband kept saying, why are we seeing this play? Why did you choose? I couldn't even remember why I chose this play. And he was like,
I mean, it's not exactly, the Mousetrap, is it? Or one of the more famous.
Yeah, it's not Wicked or all those big plays. And I couldn't remember why I chose it. I said, oh, if it's terrible, okay, just, we'll make a joke out of it. Yeah. And it turned out to be a very uplifting play.
Cool.
The music was good. The sets were great. The talent was great. But what made it so uplifting is, okay, there was a streak of kindness in every single character.
Yeah.
And there was no villain. I mean, of course, people are misguided. But, in a world that could get very dark, especially now, I think for me, it was important to see something there. Every single character showed kindness in some way.
Okay,
and
so I was
fun.
asking, how do you have a production, a play, or a plot without a baddie? Is the idea here that everyone was a little bit frail and had their faults, but were ultimately redeemed by their kindness?
Yes, but the odd thing was, it was about a woman falling in love with a dress. And that was
I've seen that. I haven't seen this play, but I've seen that.
And so my husband and we went to the V&A where they had like the diva exhibition about dresses, and and what was the other one? I think it was Chanel exhibition. My husband's like, look, I've had 2 days of dresses. I need to do something manly. I am going to be manly after this.
Science Museum's just over the road.
Yeah, he was like, I don't know how much dresses I could take. So, he got in touch with his feminine side for a couple of days.
Well, I used to do that as a schoolboy. I used to bunk off school. I don't know what the American phrase is for that.
Wag school?
Play hooky, wag, whatever.
Play hooky. Yeah.
School uniform. I used to go to the museums in South Kensington, where I later worked, actually, a young man as well. But it was the perfect cover to be in a school uniform in a museum. No one ever challenged me, and I used to spend a lot of time in the V&A. I love the V&A. So that sounds
amazing.
That sounds like you had some of the best the UK has to offer. The V&A collection, the Cotswolds, theatre. What else did you do over there?
Really, we walked. I mean, a lot in the Cotswolds. Oh, my accent came out. I could hear that in New York a lot. Accent coming out, but it was just. I mean, what they say about the English countryside is so true. Yeah. I mean, it was astounding. I mean, of course, we have amazing countryside here, but there's something about even the English gardens that were still left, even in the fall, that kind of natural kind of look that they have to them. All the sheep, the horses, I couldn't get enough. We walked for hours and hours through the countryside.
Did you go to Bourton on the Water then? Which particular Cotswold towns and villages did you go to?
We went to Bourton on the Water, and we saw that miniature, that miniature kind of museum, and then there's a miniature inside the miniature. Did you ever see that?
I think I did as a kid, yeah.
Oh, it's really something. It's from the 30s.
If I was bunking off school, it was quite a long way to go.
You'd be a long way from home.
That's right. Yeah, but I think I was taken there as a smaller child. That's wonderful.
It's amazing.
I'm glad you had a lovely time in the UK.
It is really an amazing thing. I just had to keep reminding myself. My husband tried to drive in the UK, and this was me the whole time.
Did he enjoy
left. That's what I kept. I must have said left about 100 times while he was driving. It was really, really petrifying.
Well, I'm glad you're back in one piece.
Yeah.
Right. This conversation that we've been touching on about death and dying in this particular time of year. Of course, last week on the Expats Portugal webinar, it was quite incredible to have Nuno talking to us, and Daniel Reyes about creating a will, the practicalities, and also the funeral planning. And we went there with Expats Portugal, didn't we? It is a conversation that needs to be had. I think when you're in a foreign country, it's good to understand the culture of what goes on. So that was superb. And typically, it wasn't an NHR webinar. Thousands of people watch. It was one about what to do, when you're planning your demise. A few hundred people watched that one, because people, whatever we do, people just don't want to go there, do they? But it's there if you want to learn more about funeral planning and what to do, for those who are left behind, and how things work, particularly in this country. It's very interesting insight into the culture from Nuno and Daniel, of course, who are Portuguese themselves. What have we got this week on Expats Portugal, Jackie?
Actually, Holborn is going to be doing the whole webinar this week. And what's really interesting about that is, and if you think about it, it's about how you could still get your golden visa. Yeah. So, for instance, that was so political. Oh, we got rid of the golden visa, but let's have a backdoor golden visa. So he's going to be discussing that. And I think we talked about it, like if you donate 250,000 euros to an arts organization, golden visa. All the different things, even buying properties in like timeshare kind of things, golden visa. So I'm curious how they're going to be doing this with the NHR too, because they're going to find a way around it. They did it with the golden visa. It just seems natural that they would. It's too much to lose.
Yeah, right. There'll just be a different way of doing it. So they've satisfied sort of political fire, I guess.
Right.
And there'll just be different ways of still attracting that foreign investment. Yeah. So that's with Jason, I believe, of Holborn Assets tonight. I look forward to talking to him at 7:30. Then at 9
tomorrow night.
Of course. What am I thinking? It's tomorrow night, Thursday. I'm wishing the week away. We're coming close to our Discovery weekend in San Antonio de Porto. The week is barreling by.
It really is.
Yeah, it is, as we prepare for the weekend. So tomorrow night, Holborn Assets, the Expats Portugal webinar, the alternative or different ways of looking at the golden visa. Then at 9, the Dream Team session, where of course we heard last week that Gilda's dog Mandela needs a therapist. He's why? And we had to break the news to Gilda that it's usually the owner and not the dog, right, with these sorts of issues.
Yes, they say there's no bad dogs, only bad dog owners.
You should have seen the look on her face. However, she also sent me a message this week to say that EIA, the company, the esteemed visa and migration processing company that is Gilda's incredible creation, they were the last people to get a CEF appointment before it was extinguished, and the first company to get an IMA, the new agency appointment. So they're right there.
Wow. That's crazy.
In a fog of not knowing really what's going on, as I think a lot of the staff at IMA are at the moment, who are making the transition from CEF. But as you can see, EIA are right in there in the thick of it and getting appointments for people. So well done, Gilda and team. She'll be part of the Dream Team session tomorrow night at 9. It's the rock and roll of migration, isn't it, Jackie? We have a lot of fun between 9 and 10 on a Thursday night.
Yeah, and it's a lot of useful information, because in the chats, you're so clever at there's so many questions, and you always seem, it's such a pretentious word, but the zeitgeist, you find that right question, and that everyone's going, because I'm thinking, why can't somebody ask this? Why can't somebody ask this? And you find that question just that moment, and it's so appreciated.
So it's a lot of fun as well. And we often, at the end of it, we have a little bit of a cultural insight where I ask all the panelists to talk about something to do with Portugal. And we had loads of suggestions of books and TV shows and Netflix series to help people with their grasp of Portuguese, not just the language, but the culture as well. So join us for that. Michael, responding to what you said earlier on here, Jackie, it's great to see multi-generations celebrating in the cemeteries in Mexico. It's a real party. Is that actually what happens then? People go to the cemetery and there's a party vibe going on there?
There's a picnic. You make a picnic, and it's usually all their favorite foods of the person you're there for. So whatever they liked, you're eating that day, and whatever they drank, you're drinking.
Okay.
So, wow.
Right. Well, that could go well or not so well.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like,
he loved boiled eggs. He loved boiled eggs, dandelion and burdock. Anyway, it's just one day of the year. Yeah, amazing. Okay. And Sorry, go on, Jackie.
And there are other families. You see lots of families. You're not the only family, clearly. So you'll go to a cemetery, and all the families are picnicking.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah. A cultural event rather than just an individual family one. The pumpkin carver, I'll reveal now as well. Halloween, all part of this same vibe we're talking about. Slug says it's not secretions or excretions. It's a result of extremely meticulous chewing. Each carving took him about a week, and that was at fast speed. He was exhausted. So it's actually James who made these. Look at them. Aren't they incredible?
James made those?
James is a pumpkin carver among his many other talents.
That is unbelievable.
It's pretty awesome, isn't it?
Wow.
I'd love to show you.
Yeah, they're like carved jade as well, aren't they? Absolutely superb. So thank you very much.
Where did you get your inspiration from?
He'll answer that, I'm sure, in the chat. He's also sent us an interesting a meme, really, about ancestors and the impact, I think, of our forefathers and mothers. You don't often hear the phrase foremother, do you? But let's just go with ancestors, shall we? And we've got here, I've not read it yet. I trust him completely. In order to be born, you needed 2 parents, 4 grandparents, 8 great-grandparents, 16 second great-grandparents, 32 third great-grandparents, 64 fourth great-grandparents, 128. I'm gonna read all of it. Wow. You know I am. 128 fifth great-grandparents, 256. It's going exponential, isn't it? 6th great-grandparents, 512 7th great-grandparents, 1,024 8th great-grandparents. This is a big photo album, isn't it? If you've got a picture of all of them.
Or a massive wall of photos of people.
Wall of family, yeah. 2,048 9th great-grandparents. For you to be born today from 12 previous generations, you needed a total of 4,094 ancestors over the last 400 years.
Wow.
Think then for a moment how many battles, how much sadness, happiness, love. Oh, hold on a minute. Let me just get that out of the way. Stories and hope for the future that your ancestors had to undergo.
That's going to make me cry. That's beautiful.
I'm going to read it again. Then I don't see why we shouldn't be moved by that.
We should.
Look at that. How many struggles? Because we know this, don't we? Personally, you know what our lives are like, a roller coaster ride. And all those other people who've gone through that before us, the struggles, how many battles, how much sadness, happiness, love, stories, and hope for the future that your ancestors had to undergo for you, talking to you to exist in this present moment. You look at that. The final line of this, you are the dream of many ancestors.
Is there any way to post this?
I will send it to you.
Yeah.
That would be great. Thank you.
I'm sure that James won't mind that one bit. That's superb. Thank you for that. And thank you for all your lovely pumpkin carvings as well. Thanksgiving then. Mr. A likes a bit of Thanksgiving, Jackie, you're saying. You've been researching it, Mrs. M. Why is that? What made you look into it?
I wanted to do a survival guide for people around Thanksgiving, Christmas and New Year, because people tend to get like really stressed. You know, lots of people get very excited, but then lots of people get very, very stressed. And so I thought I'd have an astrological look at what's going on so that people can plan their Thanksgiving. So I put out a post to see, you know, like, obviously I'm not American. I've never been to a Thanksgiving kind of celebration. Supper, and so I wanted to find out, like, you know, what are you doing in the lead up to it? And I actually found out that, you know, for some people, Thanksgiving starts in spring, like when they go to shoot a turkey, because you can only shoot a turkey in a particular part, like in Missouri. Apparently you can only shoot a turkey during mating or breeding season or something.
Right. I don't think Jackie did that, looking by the expression.
So, you know, I heard from so many different people about, you know, how they start it. And obviously I wasn't going to take the astrology right back to spring. I've missed that boat. So I was just really trying to find out what kind of stresses there were for people.
But that is a notable association, is it? It can be quite. It's to do with this thing. Well, if you think you're enlightened, spend 3 days with your family. Sort of thing.
I mean, that's the thing that really came up. That it sounds a lot like what we call Christmas.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's exactly the same. That's a great insight.
And you know what I hear is a lot of people, you know, they're deciding between their family members what each of them is going to bring, but usually somebody is doing more of it. Somebody said, you know, because most people go home for Thanksgiving, and so they also check out and hang out with their old school friends and things like that. So that's part of it as well, part of the fun. And it also got me thinking. So I said to Carl, you know, I've said it to you in the past as well, you know, what about expats that have come over that can't go home?
Yes.
You know, what's their Thanksgiving going to be like? You know, what kind of support can we provide for people? You know, who because it's 3 weeks away, and Carl was like, it's 3 weeks away, because like
we never do forward planning of this kind.
I mean, we don't really do forward planning particularly, but from what I've heard from the people that were chatting and sharing their Thanksgiving ideas, a lot of Americans are already planning it.
Yeah. Okay.
You know,
So there is a run up, is there, Jackie?
So, you know, what about, you know, people who are Americans living over here?
Yeah.
So that's all I wanted to bring to the table.
What's the general tone then, astrologically, where it finds itself in the you know, in a celestial sense, and what people can expect or how they might prepare?
Okay. Well, what I would say is prepare yourself to be light. Because actually November is pretty dicey in terms of astrology. It's very, very intense at the moment, and a lot of people are doing a lot of soul searching. It's a very, very intense time astrologically. So actually my recommendations are, you know, I've broken down from the 20th right the way through to the 26th. When are the right times to engage the children, the older people? So I was talking about different opportunities to work with different parts of the family. I think the older people are going to be some of the ones that struggle the most. It feels more confusing for them this year from the astrology.
I can just imagine old people struggling at Thanksgiving. If it's anything like the UK Christmas, it's like they're going to be saying things like, "You can't say that anymore, can you?" And then they say it, and then the whole family gets upset with them saying the thing they can't say anymore.
I mean, the context, you know, like the political, social context have changed really, really quickly. And I can see that there's a lot of bridge building that could take place in this Thanksgiving. But what I was, you know, I mean, you can listen to the update. It's on Feel Good Astrology. Just go to my channel there on YouTube. But if you are doing a big do, or if you're going yourself to a big do, I've given you some sort of, I guess, tasks, like pointers, emotional, psychological tasks you might choose to do in the run up and then after, because the post Thanksgiving is actually more potent. And I see that people are going to be full of ideas. So I think it's going to be churning a lot of stuff. And of course, if you're foreign, not foreign, but like if you're in another country.
Displaced, as it were.
If you're feeling displaced, that churning could be much more intense. So I've made some recommendations.
Thank you for that. You can't help the Canadians, apparently. Their Thanksgiving was 3 weeks ago. Didn't know that.
I had no idea. And then I'm going to do the same for Christmas and New Year as well. So
help is at hand, astrologically.
These are very churning times. Lots of change going on.
This is really nice. Thank you, everybody, for your input, including this T-Duck. Thanksgiving is a day for remembering why you don't hang out with your family for the rest of the year. It's a bit cynical. And there's a big Thanksgiving expat dinner in Aveiro every year.
That's lovely.
Anything happening expats Portugal-wise? I suspect on the forum there'll be people inviting each other who are displaced in this way. Jackie, perhaps?
I just mentioned this actually to Jerry and Astrid. And I said, I'm not going to be there that day. That's all I said. But that's a good question. I mean, that is something he might want to post. I personally think the U.S. turnout will be light. And Astrid said, she goes, no, it happens earlier in the day for them. It's not dinner. But a lot of people have Thanksgiving dinner in the afternoon. It's lunch, or they're watching football, or, you know, and I really, really related. Thank you for your comments about Thanksgiving, because our youngest son is making a decision about seeing, because he's in the U.S., his family on Nantucket. I don't know if you ever heard of a place called Nantucket, but he has family that live there. I've mainly
heard Nantucket because of all the filthy poems that are based upon it. But
yeah, that's true. And everyone wears that stupid T-shirt when you're there. And I thought it was really interesting. And he's young. He's 23 years old. So I really appreciated the decision he made because he knows his family really wants him. They really love him there, but they're so contentious towards each other. And they're great to him, but terrible to each other. And he calls them, especially three of them, he calls them the trifecta. I hope they never see this because all they do is fight.
You never know.
But I really do appreciate that at 23, he's so feels such obligation to his family that he's willing, like he knows it's going to be torture. I mean, he's going there with the expectation that he will be tortured, but that he knows that they love him.
Oh yeah,
well, I'll send you a
lovely
link.
sense of duty. What a lovely sense.
I'll send him a link to my update.
Yeah,
he's going to need it.
It's worth being prepared, isn't it? Yeah.
I did recommend, like, for people who are going to a Thanksgiving, and who I think this is one of these months ahead where having a purpose is really important, so that we're not left idle with our thoughts and our emotions and things like that.
Yes.
So I think if anyone's got a skill that they're happy to share, a dish, maybe not a dish, but like anything of them that they can really put into the celebrations and the festivities that nobody else has got. I think that's really, really helpful at this moment.
Like
in
a
time.
celebration of the diversity of the family.
Yeah, and to go with a packet of cards in the back of your pocket. So
that's a great idea.
Conversations. You just say, "Oh, that's an interesting thought."
I'm going to thrash you at Uno instead.
Let's have a card game first, and then we'll talk about it after, and then just get everyone playing. I think the more people can distract and play, and stick away from all the really tough stuff.
That and booze, but only the right amount. Okay.
Yeah, one of the days is particularly boozy.
Okay.
So the day before Thanksgiving is very boozy.
Good on you, bye, Randy. There is definitely, if you want to make your way to Aveiro, if you're not in the area, you might have a lovely trip up there. The Venice of Portugal, of course, and a Thanksgiving dinner. It's Saturday, the 18th of November at the Restaurant Cinco Reis. They're the Five Kings restaurant in Aveiro, put on by Aveiro expats and friends. Jackie, we've been keeping you far too long here. Are you happy to learn a little bit about Pão de Deus with us now?
Oh, please. Wait, clotted cream is my new thing. I don't even know what is the difference between clotted cream and butter.
Do you know what I want to know? Where can we get clotted cream here? Because just as a little side note, it's our son's birthday tomorrow, and he's asked me to make scones. And our good friend Dee is coming around, and she's going to teach me for the second time. So she's going to teach me how to make
those scones were good, or scones.
Yeah, scones according to where you are in the UK. But
Well, can you explain to Jackie the difference between butter and clotted cream then?
Well, like clotted cream is it's just heaven.
Yes, absolutely.
It doesn't taste as salty as butter does.
Well, they don't put salt in it.
Yeah, and it's white and it's thick.
It's definitely more creamy than buttery, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like melty, like brie, melted brie or something.
It looks like that, but it doesn't have a crust on. Well, it can have like some of the clotted cream in Devon.
Yeah, it does.
It does have a crust.
It can crystallize into fat, which makes it even nicer.
I know. It's so good.
I always feel very satisfied after having a lot of that.
You do. Actually, funny enough, talking about Day of the Dead.
I wonder where we can get it from, because I'd love to have some for our little...
GB's store in Cascais has it.
Does it?
Okay, I don't think I'm going to be able to get there today. Tomorrow.
No, we might have to make our own.
How do we do that?
I don't know.
I've got some kefir going off in the back.
Don't you just do one of your fermentations?
No,
okay. No. Right. And on that note, given that it's All Souls, Day of the Dead, my dad slipped through the veils at this time of year.
Yes, he did.
On the 3rd of November. And he loved clotted cream. So that'll be a wonderful tribute to him. He used to sit and eat it. He didn't bother putting it on scones or anything. He used to spoon it out of the tub straight in and eat the whole the only one worried about things like cholesterol. Right. Became Sabia then today, before you go, Jackie. Thank you for spending so much time with us this morning.
It was a pleasure. It was my pleasure.
Bread for God is the Portuguese tradition of souling, celebrated all over Portugal, named for the soul mass cakes given to the poor on All Saints' Day. So you may see that happening in Portugal. And here are some pictures of the lovely.
They look like my scones from last week.
They do, don't they? Nicely dusted there with a bit of maybe some caster sugar. They do look nice, don't they? They look. I would eat one of those right now.
Can't I just go and buy a load of those and say I pretended I made scones for Digby?
You could try that. I like that because it's got the lovely little bit of linen going on with it. Or is that a plate? But some sort of Portuguese graphics going on there. That's given us an idea. It's like subliminal advertising. So what are you going to be doing after the show then, Jackie?
Oh, I know. I'm starving. So, so the coconut, that's what I think is so interesting.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's got coconut.
It's coconut, and I love coconut. I don't know how coconut even came to Portugal, but it's a really good idea, Balde Dios.
Yes, and Owen's promising to make some live on air one day. That is fantastic. Yes, we'll take that offer. And Pete, if you need a turkey, he has homegrown turkeys.
Pete, how many have you got?
He'll even stuff them for you, I suspect. So, Pete, tell us more about your turkeys. Jackie, thank you so much. We've been greedy with our demand upon you, time-wise. Thank you so much for telling us about our beloved UK as well. Have a lovely day, and I'll see you tomorrow night on the webinar and the Dream Team. Ciao, ciao.
Yep. Bye.
Hey, bye for now.
Bye.
There she goes there with that strange, I don't know what it is, but I fancy a pão de douche right now. A picture from Madeira. Look, this has been sent in.
Oh, wow. That's lovely, isn't it?
Ian, not Ian Turner, but Ian Cook photography there to keep us going. I don't know who Ian Cook is. Is that a friend of yours?
Ian Turner said what it's called.
Here's a pic
called
to
Nuns
keep you
Valley.
Going. Oh, okay. Nothing funny about that, is there?
Nuns Valley, no. Okay. Why would that be funny?
Nuns Valley. It's a bit like the other Portuguese confection, Nun's Breast.
Oh,
actually, what would be awesome, Coach Turner? Could you send us a picture of you eating a nun's breast in Nuns Valley?
That's disgusting.
I will buy you dinner if you do that.
It looks like
it's not disgusting. It's actually a very Portuguese
profiles
thing.
Of people.
Hold on a minute. Are you zooming in? Thanks to Ian Cook, by the way, for this. What, like a Mount Rushmore thing going on there? Do you think?
Well, with the there's like three, as I'm looking at it, there's three ridges that are kind of going down
as the nun said, as the priest said to the nun,
on a diagonal, like one in the foreground, then one behind, and one behind, and it looks like three people lying down. That looks like three heads on pillows next to each other. It does,
doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? It looks like sleeping giants.
What do you think is nestling in the Nuns Valley there? You don't have to answer that. Right, do you want to see some transparent male?
Yes, please.
Fashion? Actually, this could be quite described as a little bit dull because it's a presentation that ISTO have sent me. I'll set this up a little bit better than that and make it sound a bit more exciting.
Oh my God, I thought we were going to be looking at proper male shapes and...
No, you might as well just look at women though, given what you said earlier on.
Yeah.
It's a 12-hour process. That's a big webinar for making the pão de douche. But maybe you can just show us the climax of a 12-hour process.
Isn't that for is that for the pão de douche or is it for the no, for the turkey?
Nuns Valley?
The turkey.
Oh, what, cooking in turkey? 12 hours. That's going to be a big turkey, isn't it? Walk inside. A walk-in turkey.
I think you need like they wouldn't fit in one of our ovens, would they?
Hold on a minute. We got a few more things to sort out here because we're getting some compliments for James, which we must pass on. Then we'll come back to transparent male fashion to finish the show with this morning. Quite talented James, a true artist. And he says, I saw this carving approach demonstrated decades ago when I was a preschool. He's a preschool teacher as well and developed my own style to it, all done with only knives. Each carving takes about 4 to 5 hours. Awesome.
Could you do a Carl one? I'd love to see Carl as a pumpkin. He's got a sort of
pumpkin-like head.
He has got a pumpkin-like shaped head.
So 4 out of 5 and a pumpkin-shaped like head.
Sorry.
Do you want to make these? I mean, backhanded compliments come in threes, presumably. Like
okay, I will think of another one. Maybe you can help us.
Well, it's 20 minutes to go. Yeah, I mean, you've got plenty of time. For the non-Americans, the Thanksgiving milestone of pumpkin chunking is returning.
What
Sounds
is
like
that?
fun. For the non-Americans, that'll be you, Mrs. M, asking that question. What is that? It's people competing for the farthest hurled pumpkin, including trebuchets and air cannons. What fun.
When you say hurled, that's not like...
Not as in vomiting
like
pumpkin. No,
right.
No one wants to watch that, do they? There are some weirdos who do want to watch things like that, but no, not here. How do you preserve the pumpkin flesh? Whoa! I don't know how you preserve pumpkin. Is this a joke, Alison James? Could be, couldn't it? We need a punchline for that, everybody.
No, I think that's I think, don't you just make a jolly good soup or something?
Yeah, or spray it with lemon, like you do to stop the apple going brown in a fruit salad. Lemon juice, I believe, helps with that. Lemon juice is what I would suggest to you. And James is saying, if your question was for me, I never try to preserve the flesh. I carve them the day and night before Halloween. They wither over the next couple of days after. And that's not what I want to see. If I'm seeing a pumpkin likeness of myself, will I see how I age as well? Clotted cream, says Michael, is heated.
That would be so
heavy cream, man. It's heated, heavy cream. Butter is churned cream. So there you go. Don't try eating a tablespoon of butter. Although my ex-father-in-law did that. He's a fantastic Yorkshireman, was Arthur. And one evening, he was having a late night snack, which caused him next day to say to his wife, Mary, that cheese were very mild. White cheese in fridge were very mild. He'd been eating chunks of butter.
I think I could do that.
Yes, it's Day of the Dead. It's remembrance, isn't it, of wonderful Arthur and all our in-laws and ancestors and those thousands of people that went before us, for whom we were just a dream. How lovely. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I remember getting a bit of a bollocking in a supermarket when I went shopping with Digby.
All right.
Our soon-to-be 12-year-old, who was,
how things have changed.
Like
used to be the parents bollocking the
children. He was about 9 months old or so, and I had him in a sling. And no, he must have been older. So he was about like, I don't know, a year and a half. He was sat up in he wasn't in a sling eating butter. I wouldn't have let him do that. It'd have gone down me. But anyway, he'd tucked into some of the butter I was buying at the supermarket.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And I got a real telling off from the lady. You know,
quite right too.
No, but I think
unhygienic.
I think if kids are showing an interest, I mean, at that point he was also eating
you're one
raw
of those
broccoli.
People. Yeah, you're one of those people though.
Broccoli. So I think, you know, let kids decide what they want to eat and try things. But it raised a bit of a stir around the Devon.
Well, I've been upset with you, haven't I, for eating things that you haven't bought yet in the supermarket.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, we were actually at the checkout. It wasn't that he was eating it and I hadn't paid for it. She was commenting on how terrible it was for
the health benefits or the lack thereof.
She was just saying that's a disgust. How could you let your son eat butter?
Raw butter.
Yeah.
Like that.
But
mind your business, lady.
Wind it in.
Yeah, bon dia, late coming today.
And if you're that woman in whatever it was, Asda's of Teenbridge,
on
your bike.
Iberian slap for you, not a physical one. We don't do that, but the one of these to you all the way from Portugal. That's not as nice as receiving a postcard, is it? From the Algarve. Did send a pumpkin picture from last night. Look, fresh from Pontelima. Yes,
looks like a pineapple. It looks like a carved pineapple.
Well, what Bob's done here is he's photographed it in front of a palm tree.
Yeah, very clever.
Very good. I like that. Good work there. a nice tall pumpkin as well. Is that a slightly different shape here in Portugal, perhaps, that you found there? There's not the sort of squat pumpkin, is it? That's a taller specimen.
Oh, we've actually got a pumpkin that we grew. We missed the opportunity, didn't we?
Thank goodness. James, we'll see him at the weekend. Maybe James will do an impromptu carving. Bring your knives. No, maybe don't bring your knives on public transport. We'll lend you a knife. Thank you very much, everybody. We're now going to take a look at transparent male fashion. For those of you who have been tuned in for an hour already, hoping for this moment and wanting to see maybe see-through underwear, it's not that kind of transparent male fashion. Actually, let me, before I go here or go there, as it were, this is a Try Something Portuguese, as well as being one of my favorite things. Talking about raindrops on roses, this is one of my favorite things here in Portugal. First of all, though, I urge you to a feature-length Try Something Portuguese today. This is ISTO. Now, I think there are some amazing brands and products here in Portugal, as you know. The Dr. Bayard suite, Beral. You know, some of the things you've heard of. You may not have heard of ISTO, who are a clothing and apparel manufacturer, mainly based around Lisbon. And I'm going to tell you the story of ISTO now. And one day, Mrs. M, I want you to tell me if you would like to see me in these clothes. I would like to patronize this store in a good way. I don't mean in a bad way, because the word patronize has got such a bad meaning now, hasn't it? Oh, hold on a minute. I'm at the end of the presentation. I'm having to go hastily back to slide 1 here. 5, 4. What's going on? This isn't working. It's just it's auto scrolling. My presentation here. I'm giving you. Oh, this is the most unprofessional presentation, the likes of which you see people doing PowerPoint, where they've got it in the wrong place, and you get to see all the slides, or your subconscious mind gets to see the whole presentation as they're hastily winding back. Okay, so I'm gonna do it again for you now. This is so great, because it's one thing, isn't it, to go to Primani and buy a 99-cent t-shirt, but the cost of that is felt elsewhere, isn't it? Whilst you've got a bargain, some poor kid probably in Pakistan or somewhere like that in a sweatshop has maybe made that shirt for you, living a very different lifestyle to yours, in which you're lucky enough to be able to afford to buy a 99-cent t-shirt. So what I would urge you to do, if you can afford this, or you want to sort of reprioritize your spending, is get with the program with ISTO. So let me just take the frame off the screen so you can see exactly what we're talking about here. They're a modern day essentials brand. I love them. I mean, the style of clothing is looking a bit like Gap, isn't it?
It is Gapish.
Very Gap, very general American. Is that what it's called? General American products? Is that what Gap stands for? ISTO, modern day essentials brand for men, inspired by the slow fashion movement that focuses, who doesn't like a slow movement first thing in the morning, that focuses on quality, sustainability, and ethical transparency. Now, you're not going to see that with many fashion brands. You're seeing it with more, to be fair, but this is I welcome this. It has 3, soon to be 4 physical stores in London, and is available online at isto.pt. Their collections are produced with organic and recycled materials by certified suppliers in Portugal. How about that? If you've been wanting to buy organic clothes, look no further than ISTO. I hope you like their style, who cultivate a fully transparent relationship with consumers. They know how much each product costs and what the markup is. Now, I find this very fascinating, because you think to yourself, okay, there's a transparently made organic thing. That's flipping expensive. And they tell you why. They tell you, you're not used to it. You know, the mass production has made clothes cheap, hasn't it, generally speaking? And they explain why these things need to be more expensive. So they maintain an independent approach to business. The company was bootstrapped from day one, and 100% of the company is still owned by its founders. Well done.
That's really quite impressive, isn't it?
And I think there's a couple of them there, founded by 3 men. Yeah, that must just be 2 of them, unless there's a very thin one standing behind them, the third guy.
Or that they're holding on to.
Or he's really small and he's in one of their pockets. But anyway, it was founded by 3 men from Lisbon.
He's under the hat.
Well, hey, it was founded by 3 men from Lisbon. He's taking the photograph.
Oh, okay.
They're from Lisbon.
Maybe he's the other guy on slide 1.
It could be.
Maybe.
Backgrounds in business, marketing, and design. That's the perfect combo, isn't it, for ISTO? Their increasing frustration with the way things are made and sold in fashion retail led them to believe, you've got to love a passion-based business like that, haven't you, that's based on a solution. That led them to believe there was an opportunity for a fresh start that took inspiration from high-end brands but gave people something else. Yes, the focus then became higher quality standards with an honest price point, so that consumers who already know what they want get what they need. They coupled that with the fact that they live hours away from some of the leading textile manufacturers in the world. Yes, here in Portugal, which led to ISTO. We make fabric here in Portugal.
No idea.
I say we. I mean, woolens. You know that lovely coat I've got from Truja Mosha?
Yeah.
That's Portuguese
wool.
Well,
actually, I think we should feature them. I mean, we've had several pairs of their shoes. They're amazing.
Yeah. The only problem with their shoes, I bought the wrong size, didn't I? But you've ended up inheriting those.
Yeah.
They were a bit too small for me, but they handmade shoes, really great value. Truja Mosha as well, which we'll talk about one day. So they led to becoming a reality. That passion, that frustration led to them launching in June of 2017. And it is quite Gapish, and I love the Gap look. And what I like about Gap as well is I seem to be the right size for Gap clothes as well. That, there are certain stores, aren't there, we think, okay, if I go in there and buy a medium, it's going to work. And perhaps that will happen with ISTO too. That's their winter summer collection. I think they're making a point there that there's just one collection. They're not trying to excite you into buying the next thing. How we develop products and conduct business is what they're saying here, what they're telling us about. They don't rely on seasonal collections. We care for everyday clothes that fit our everyday needs. That is, we have one single collection and try to make it permanently available. So you know what you're getting,
yeah,
based on what you want, and if it's a fit for you, literally, isn't
yeah.
that great?
I love that. I mean,
yeah, good ethic.
it really pees me off, you know, how shops are always just trying to
Change.
recreate.
Yeah. We look for fashion staples that could be better and work on those until we feel they are done perfectly. Quality over quantity. Each new launch is carefully planned to address the real needs of men looking for the best everyday essentials. The end result is a growing collection of organic and natural materials that is made to look amazing, fit perfectly, and last longer. And it's that Silicon Valley thing, isn't it? If you buy a set of clothes, you have to think about it. You know, you can go back and buy when the trousers or whatever are worn out, which probably they won't be because I think they're well made. You know what you're buying, and you can just put the same thing on every day, can't you, if you want to? Everything has been developed over the past years, from sourcing the finest heavy organic cotton available to prototyping right down to the finishing details that make these items feel different the first time you touch them. And there you see, they go into what it costs. It's something that's retailing at 80 euros there. They've got a labor cost, a transport cost, a fabric cost, and the labels, buttons, minimal cost, their logistics, and the material cost. They're telling you what it costs them, and then they're having to add all the other overheads in there. So true transparency in what you're buying at ISTO, and it helps you understand why it seems expensive, perhaps, but it's all got to be priced in, and they have to survive, don't they? Once the final product is available in the store, consumers can find out how much it costs to make, how we reach the final price, and how we intend to spend any net profit. That is transparency, isn't it?
That
And
really is.
there they are, stores in Príncipe Real, which is a beautiful place to go to, let's face it, Campo de Ourique, Chiado, and soon Amoreiras, a huge step for ISTO. And they're currently genuinely excited about connecting long-time followers of the brand with new people looking for quality essentials, transparently made in Portugal. And there's going to be a pop-up in a Porto as well, I think. Tasteful shops as well. It's a nice looking shop, isn't it? There you go. Although
I want them to do women's stuff.
They don't, unfortunately. There's your cotton cashmere shirt at 120 euros. As I've said, they'll explain to you why. Although we started out 100% online, we have grown into retail. And I think with clothes of that quality and price, you want to try them on, don't you? I feel uncomfortable about ordering things online. However, once you've got your first one, you could order the next one online because they'll be made to the same spec, won't they? So they want to meet more customers and they want more people to experience the products, and that's why they've gone online. The website is still growing strong and is responsible for 38% of global sales. So there you go. There's their markets all over the world. Isn't that lovely? For 2023, they want to accelerate investment in the USA, keep growing physical presence in Portugal, and increase revenue in key countries, including Germany, UK, and France. Good luck to you, ISTO. I think you're doing an amazing thing. I love the colors, I love the styles, and I'm going to get in there and get me some of this gear at some point. I think I'll love their stuff, and I hope others have been, it's been brought to their attention.
Yeah, I'd like to see you in those skimpy shorts.
the swimwear or those
trouser shorts.
There.
I mean, they look quite short.
I can't wait for João de Nort to go in and say, "Could you show me your pants?" like he did in England. So that's a great video. I won't play that now.
That's an amazing video.
The video is beautiful. It's another transparent trader. That guy runs a restaurant. Yeah, and he tells people about what the meals cost him. And he's an inspiration, just like ISTO are. So there you go. If you want to get in touch, you can do that. Well, why not go through their website, isto.pt. ISTO, transparently made in Portugal. Boom. Now, I hope, Mrs. M, that wasn't too boring to do a presentation like that, but it seemed like the right thing to do.
I think it's really nice. You know, like we're talking, you know, well, okay, here's where I'm at. Like today, and like yesterday, like some people celebrate Samhain, which is, you know, the sort of pagan name for Halloween, and this time of year, and the Day of the Dead, and the celebration of souls. I thought I was going to burst into tears when she was talking about the Day of the Angels, the little angels. And one of the things that is said about this time of year is that the veils are really thin between realities.
Yes,
and that you can tune into people from the past, most likely people from the future as well. You can just tune in. Like, this is a time of mystery and magic and connection.
yes.
And it's interesting when you're talking about transparency, you know, being able to see beyond the veils.
Absolutely.
You know, because with shops and things like that, you know, everything is hidden. There's so many sort of secrets in life about how things are put together. So I really, really appreciate the ability to see deeper into that.
Yeah, wonderful.
And actually, the real reason why I was saying you pulled one out of the bag yesterday for our kids is because I actually don't like Halloween at all. I think I really don't like it because I just think we don't need to do anything to call in demons or that kind of energy, because like it feels like there are people that are naturally sort of traumatized year round. You know, I always think be careful what you wish for, and I think when you are dressing up in a certain way, you're almost putting on a mask. You're becoming
I'm not a big fan, and without sounding like a grumpy old man, which I'm going to now, but I'm in good company looking at the comments that are in the chat at the moment. There's a remake of Last of the Summer Wine going on in the comments at the moment. I'll come to those gentlemen in just a moment. But
I mean, I love how we do Halloween. So like you took one for the team, like the kids want, you know, they hear about what it's like to go house to house.
They're marketed at.
And actually, I really like that you take them out just to experience something that might feel a little bit different. Take them into a different state, you know, like in the dark. And
I think it was mission accomplished from that point of view. We're talking about the thinness of the veils between life and death, and going into the dark forest. And I'd love for us
to talk more about our ancestors today. They'll probably roll their eyes and go, "Oh, we know that."
Well, that's what you do as a kid. But that shouldn't stop the parents from trying to share something with you, right? Or teachers.
I was talking about my grandparents to our eldest yesterday, and realised he's never met my grandparents. They'd all died by the time I had children. And grandparents are so important. So
the only likeness, apparently, I'm not sure if I read this out. The only likeness carving. I don't think it's a yes for doing a pumpkin shaped like my head.
That's okay.
So a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Although some say I do have a resemblance to which one is it of the Mutant Ninja Turtles? You think I look most like Leonardo? Possibly. Thanks for your picture, but Andy thinks it looks more like an abobora. Abobora. The gourd of Portugal here. And look at this. I have taught Louisa. That's James's
Louisa.
Yeah, that's right. An American expression for the cashier in your anecdote. Nunya, as in none of your business. None of your business. Okay. And a nice memory of giant slug wrestling, having mentioned Bayards there. Right. The feedback for ISTO then. Listen to these grumpy buggers here.
Seriously.
Wow, that's expensive. 65 euros for a scarf. You're having a laugh. And then by Randy, guaranteed the Portuguese workers that make them are on minimum wage. From by Randy. I would
I'm
question
not sure about that.
I think they would make that an interest. But it's a good point.
People are only ever on minimum wage because they're trying to sell a product that's cheap, right?
Well, that's
but
right.
If they're doing a transparent process,
and like, you know, people say, "Oh, that's expensive," but you don't want people on minimum wage. Well, how do you square that? How do you square that? I want to pay less. But that means people are on minimum wage. Well, that's okay. I want to pay less. That's not much cheaper than getting tailored clothes, which will fit so much better. Now, that's a good point,
is a good point.
Good point.
I wonder if they do a tailoring service as well.
They may well do. Pete goes on to say, why not go to your local cobbler or tailor in Portugal? It's a good idea. Tell us where they are, Pete. I'd be more, as you can tell, I'd be more than happy to talk about that. If people have got local cobblers or tailors in Portugal who can offer a service like that, let's send them some business.
What are they called?
Truja-mosha
in Coimbra.
They strike me as pretty good value.
They make really cool shoes. Well, I say cool shoes. I mean, what I think is cool is probably not what anyone else thinks is cool. But I've had this kind of leather Chelsea boot, a homemade. And again, I've not made it sound good. But they're falling apart now after 4 years of almost continuous wear.
And they're made in such a way that they could be cobbled back together. That's the other thing. They're not molded plastic or anything like that. They are
the most comfy shoes I've ever had. They're amazing.
And this is like, why not go to your local cobbler or tailor instead of keeping 3 yuppies in their Lisbon flats?
Is that in their Lisbon apartments or in their flat Lisbon shoes?
It could be both, couldn't it? I imagine they've got some nice Lisbon flats, both shoes and apartments. But Pete, come on, lighten up your old giffer. It's a no from me, I'm afraid. I understand their costings, but it's far too much to pay for everyday wear. But do we bring their prices down, or do we boost up your everyday income such that it's doesn't seem so much in there? I wonder. There's a virtuous circle here, isn't there? That we could everybody. You know, we don't need to shrink our way to greatness. It's not. It can't be done, can it? We can all rise on a tide of people appreciating each other more, paying people a fair wage. And that could be a win-win for everybody, couldn't it? If we do it in the right way, perhaps. Michael Whitby also.
Your ride is here.
Oh, excellent. Also fabrics like Viella, flannel, cotton goods. I think also made here in Portugal. That's lovely to hear. Thank you. And the labour cost listed was minimum wage.
Oh, really?
Okay. Well, I suspect, given their ethics, they're working on that. It would be a big hole in their ethics if they weren't. What you can do, if you are genuinely and seriously concerned about that, you could go in and offer to pay even more so that the person who made the fabrics gets paid more than a minimum wage.
Yeah.
No, everyday wear will last longer. I bet. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I think I've got to go. I'm getting the finger from Mrs. M in a good way. Actually, no, I shouldn't have said it like that. But a round of applause to you. And we're just going to cut short because it's 10 o'clock and it's time for the benefit broadcast.
Join us for the Barefoot broadcast. Okay, so hopefully we'll see you there.
All right.